What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news, some more news concerning Andy Ruiz. This is coming from Bob Arum. Bob Arum says that Andy Ruiz had a responsibility to come in the fight as a fighter, to come in shape. He did not utilize that. He was not professional. And if he didn't come in such a fat pig, he might have done something different with Anthony Joshua. Now, mind you something here. This is what Bob Arum said with a twist. Bob Arum did say, he said, well, Andy Ruiz came in, like a fat pig. He didn't come in where he's supposed to. And any top fighter would have beat him that night. And any other fighter that's in the top 10 would have stopped Ruiz. Okay? So, I see where that's going, and I see where Bob Arum is going with that. Because he said any other fighter would have stopped him. On top of Andy Ruiz coming in like a fat pig, so he wasn't really in shape to fight. Now, what that does, that automatically discredits Joshua's win. That he was able to switch up his style. That he wasn't hit with the same punches that he was hit with. Besides the behind the head punches, but he wouldn't hit with the same punches that he would because he changed his style. And of course, Bob Arum is not to give credit to Anthony Joshua, of course, because he's the rival competitor. And later on in that interview, he did say, well, somebody that's going to beat Joshua, which will be Kuprat Pulev on the IBF side of things. So that's a different situation, a different story, a different video altogether. But, what Bob Arum was doing was, first of all, he was discrediting both guys. He was discrediting Anthony Joshua logically because Joshua had no excuse to come into the ring like that. He didn't. But to just, dig in his ass like that, to dig in his ass like that, he would have just wanted to rub it in some sort of way. So you ask, why would Bob Arum go as far as call Andy Ruiz a fat pig? I'm going to tell you why. Backstory. Andy Ruiz once upon a time fought for top rank in Bob Arum. And when Andy lost a majority decision, lost to Joseph Parker, Bob Arum stopped getting him fights. He stopped vouching for him. He stopped promoting him, basically. So Andy Ruiz said, bump this. I'm going out on my own. I'm going to Al Heyman. So in order for me to do that, I have to buy myself out of the contract with Bob Arum, which he did. So when Andy upset Joshua, the first thing he said was, oh, that was not the real Anthony Joshua in the ring. It wasn't. It wasn't the real one. I don't know who. He was an imposter or something. Right? So, and with this, after that, he gets into, a verbal war with Eddie Hearn, right? They go back and forth, and he tells Eddie Hearn he doesn't know shit about boxing, yada, 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 right? And they go back and forth. And now, since Andy Ruiz is defeated, now not only does he talk shit at him, he discredits Anthony Joshua also. Okay, so I can see where that is because he's top ranked. So of course, he's supposed to downplay any other fighter, which in theory, he doesn't really have to, but that's just the decision and the choice that Bob Arum is making at that time. You don't want any guy that has an opportunity to shine and then and he used to fight for you. And then once he fails, he's not with you anyway. So it's really up to him and his decision to be, positive or negative. He decides to be negative. So for everyone to say all this, to say this, for everyone that says, damn, Bob Arum's really putting it to Andy Ruiz, there's a reason, okay? Because he was once with Bob Arum, and Bob Arum would have been more than happy to had Andy Ruiz as a fighter when he upset Anthony Joshua. Okay, so that's my counterpunch on Bob Arum, because we don't know if this is coming from a biased standpoint, but it does seem like that. You know, you calling a man a fat pig because maybe you were bitter just a bit when he left you and went on and moved on with his career, you know, and he did something that was beneficial to him and you did nothing. He didn't try to counteroffer. He didn't do anything. So he thought, well, you didn't believe in Andy Ruiz no more. When Andy Ruiz did beat Anthony Joshua, you discredited the win. You know, and then when he loses, you know, due to a guy that was focused and outboxed him, you call him a fat pig. So that's my counterpunch on that. Yes, Andy Ruiz supposed to came in shape. Yes, it is his fault. Yes, it's very serious because it does show you how serious it is about boxing, but we know he has came into money. So it's hard, and it's hard to motivate yourself when you got money already versus being broke. Okay, so those are just realities of life. So before people start kicking Andy Ruiz further into the fucking ground, you know, especially coming from Bob Arum, think about where it's coming from. Bob Arum. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily mean that Bob is coming with his, you know, with his best intention at heart. You know what I mean? Or just speaking his mind. You know, I think there's a little bit bitterness behind that particular statement that Bob Arum made. That's my counterpunch on that. You guys tell me what you think about Bob Arum's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.